Hello, happy Wednesday night. My name is Hallie Sherman. I'm a speech language pathologist and I'm a speech time fun. Welcome to the replay, welcome live. How's everyone doing? I'm from Speech Time Fun. Hi, hello. How's everyone doing? Happy Wednesday night. It is tips and tricks night and tonight is all about comparing and contrasting. Let's go beyond just some basic vocabulary. Let's get some ideas. Let's build that vocabulary up. And I'm going to share it with you tonight. Thank you for the hearts. Welcome. How's everyone doing? The link right here on the screen, if you want to screenshot it or whatnot, that's my blog post that it's up right now. And it has all tips and tricks and a freebie. Freebie. Yes, that is correct. Freebie. I forgot to mention that one in the title, but I am letting you know now. I am going to flip it around and let's get this started. Hello, how is everyone doing? Hi. I am Hallie Sherman. I am a speech language pathologist in the schools in New York, and I am the author of the blog and TPT store Speech Time Fun. How is everyone doing tonight? Thank you for the hearts. And I am here tonight on a Wednesday night with tips and tricks. And today we're going to be talking all about comparing and contrasting. I don't know about you, but it sometimes could take a little bit to figure out some ways that just work with the students. And I'm going to share with you what has been working for me. Obviously, we all start with just basic vocabulary, let's compare apples and bananas, let's compare a crayon and a pencil. And I find sometimes my students can just, either they got it or they don't. They have no idea what to say. And I like to, use just the visual aid and let them really see it for themselves, ways that things can be similar and ways things cannot be similar. And last week, and on Instagram and on my blog, I've been showing how I use the EET to show, let's see, are the categories the same? Is the function the same? And we'll, use a dry erase marker, or we will sort things out and I let them see it and we go through all the different answers and, oh, which one's the same? Which one's different? And then we can say, okay, these are the same, these are different. And then we use, sentence strips to verbally express them, and any way for them to visually see it. Another way, if I'm not using the EET, I'll show you another visual that I like to use. 1 second. Okay, so here it's like another visual that I like to use. This happens to be a part of my my comparing and contrasting speech pad activity, but here's the sentence strips already included, function, looks, location, category. So this visual is part of that activity, so it's ready to go in there. But here it is for you to see that if I'm not going to use the EET, I might just use the different types that are familiar. And here's compare, here's contrast, here's a sentence strip, and it's ready to go for them to see. So that is another visual that I like to use if I'm not going to use the EET. This way it has the different ways things could be similar, the ways things could be different, and it has a sentence strip right there to encourage complete sentences, vocabulary, using it. The way that I find my students learn best is just by using it, saying it, discussing it, sharing it with their peers, having the discussion on, oh, I agree, I don't agree. So having those visual aids ready to go is a great way to do that. Okay, so now they have the basic vocabulary. What can we do with it? You can have them work on Venn diagrams and filling it out and using that expressive language and being able to share what they know. Then what? Let's do the paragraph level. Let's do the sentence level. Well, what are we looking for? Are we comparing apples and oranges? I don't know. So in the beginning, I like to show them, okay, we're going to read a paragraph. We're going to be comparing two boys. Let's see if you can figure out how they're similar and different. So I might start out that way, whether it's the paragraph level or the sentence level. I might tell them what they are going to be comparing and contrasting. But after that, I like to show them, okay, I told you this. What were some things you noticed? I might have used the words, same, different, compare, however, but, similar, equal. I might use those vocabulary words in the paragraph or in the story that might give you the hint that something is being compared and contrasted. And I like to highlight them have my students be very familiar with those key words that they might see in a passage that makes them know. Like a lot of times in a story, they'll be comparing two characters, and it'll be like, Johnny did this, and then it'll be like all about Billy did that. Well, it keeps talking about Johnny and Billy, so who could be being compared and contrasted? Johnny and Billy. It must be them because they're being mentioned a lot. And I like just to make my students just aware and keep showing them the models and using highlighters to point out those key vocabulary words, and then just discussing it. So that's what I like to do. First, I tell them what's being compared and contrasted, and then have them find the details. And then I have them use those key words and see if there's any patterns or things being just discussed a lot. And then I have them figure out what is being compared and contrasted. And then we complete Venn diagrams, and I have them, verbally express themselves, and, I give them the sentence, like a conversational script, like, okay, first we're going to discuss how they're the same, then we're going to discuss how one is, and then we're going to express how the other one is. And then I give them, a sentence starter so they can do it themselves. So that's how I, take it from, here's the basic vocabulary. I use EET or basic, function category, looks alike. Okay, and then once they get that, or depending on their age level, I might do, or functioning cognitive level, I might just, stick with that and just do more difficult vocabulary. Things may be more abstract. And then, for older students, I do paragraph, sentence level. And then also I like to do is, not once they have it within one text, can they compare two pieces of text? So I like to start off comparing movies or TV shows or favorite books to show them how you can take two different stories and show how they're similar and different. And ways you can do that is, what are the key story elements? Character, setting, maybe problem, a solution. Let's look at those things first, how we can compare and contrast those things. Like take Cinderella and Snow White. Well, they're both princesses. Okay, there's a prince that saves the day. Sorry, my phone is ringing in the room. So those are some things, you can do first. Okay, there's a problem in both. Sorry, my husband's not picking up the phone in the other room. So then that is how I would start with teaching how to compare two pieces of text. I would just take, the problem setting, character setting, problem, and solution. And thank you. So then I would take, popular movies, and then I would take a text, and then let's compare it to a popular movie that they might already know. Let's start with that. Okay, what could be similar? What could be different? And I would give them what they're going to be comparing it to. And then I might say, after that, we're going to read a story. And can you think of another maybe movie that takes place in the same place? And let them come up with their own movie or book. Is it Harry Potter? And ahead of time I'll come up with a list that, they might be able to think of that I can probe them to come up with. So, okay, so, first I'm going to tell them what they're going to compare it to, and then I'm going to give that feature that they're going to compare it to. And then after that, can you figure one out on your own that you can compare it to? And then we can take two, pieces of text, to novels, to movies, anything like that. Use the Venn diagram, use the sentence strips, encourage them to use that basic vocabulary, compare, contrast, similar, different, however, in contrary, but, those type of words. So, any questions? Anything that you want to know? Anything at all? No? No questions on compare and contrast? Those were just a lot of different ideas. You can see them all on my blog. I will show you right now what is up there so you can see for yourself. 1 second. Okay, so if you go to my blog right now, Building Listening Comprehension for Compare and Contrast. Oh, you are so welcome. I show you again how I use my EET. I have again this visual for you so you can see it for yourself. I link to some other activities that you can use. I give you more examples, how I start with Tier 1, then I might move to Tier 3, curriculum vocabulary. After, you work on apples and bananas, you might work on, animal cells versus plant cells. What age, it really all depends on their cognitive level. I find, I've done with my first, second graders, apples and bananas and, the curriculum vocabulary. And then you can do, it really depends on the level of the student. My students, it varies. So it really all depends. And it's also looking at the Common Core standards, what they're expected to know. I'm not sure offhand. I'll have to look that one up, but I believe it's like 3rd grade or something. They're expected to be able to compare and contrast in the Common Core standards. So that would be where I would start based on, when they're expected to. But either way, I would do all the, building up activities like, making sure that they understand functions, what things look like, location, category, etc. And then here, I don't know if you saw that on Instagram, I just wrote on the table, ready to go. Why not? Let's just write on the table with a Venn diagram. It made it so much more motivating. They loved it. And let's see. Oh, here is the paragraph, the text level. I broke up the 3 paragraphs, and after each paragraph, we wrote the main idea on the table. This way, when we were working on the Venn diagram, they knew exactly where to look for the answer because here was our notes. It broke it up into the 3 paragraphs. We knew what each of the paragraphs was about. And when we were figuring out what the paragraphs were about, they realized on their own that the middle paragraph had something being compared and contrasted. So they figured it out on their own by using that activity. And oh, look at that. There's the freebie. Here you can get some practice of Venn diagrams. So here, if you click this, you can get it. It has basic vocabulary, verbs, people. I try to cover all the different vocabulary types. So that is what is available right now on my blog. It is a freebie. It has, I think, 4 or 5 Venn diagrams ready to go, black and white, so there's no color needed. Just print and go, ready to go. And what I like to do if my students have a lot of trouble starting off using a Venn diagram, I like to give them the answers and have them sort it out. Where does it go? Does it go in one side, the other side, or in the middle? That's something I like to do to teach them how to come up with the details that are significant enough to write. And I also just teach them how to write shorthand, that they don't have to write full sentences. A lot of them think they have to always write a full thing, and it could take the whole session them thinking of their one sentence. So, thank you for tuning in. I am Hallie Sherman from Speech Time Fun. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you next week. Take care. Bye-bye.